The next stop is St Kilda Station.
Hey Snugglepots, it's Danny here, and today I'm recording on the stolen lands of the Boonwurrung people of the Kulin Nation. I pay my respect to Boonwurrung elders, past and present. Acknowledge the ongoing impact of colonization, and also recognize First Nations strength, resistance, and love. This always was, and always will be, Aboriginal land.
Hi, come on in.
He was slightly worried that the lift would eat you. Surprisingly common thing to happen, right?
Right, welcome to our apartment. As you walk in, the first thing you see is my wheelchair down at the end of the hallway. Lives there because that's the only place it fits. First door as you come in is Lee's room.
Yep. It's a room where you probably spend majority of your time, I expect.
My computer is set up over Lee's bed, so I use Lee's bed as my day bed, and then I sleep in a separate bedroom. Yeah. There are also two cats running around our feet. We have one Ginger and one Tabby. Their names are Tribble and Boop. Walk down the hallway a bit, there's a bathroom. It's a bathroom. It's not much interesting in there. Right. I have a shower stool. We also have a stool in front of the sink, so I can sit there.
Yep.
It's a bathroom.
Yep.
Moving on. We come down, and after nearly tripping over some puzzle balls for the cats, we get to my bedroom. I've got my bed, I've got my piano, and I have my wall of BDSM equipment because I'm a grown-up and we don't have children, so I don't have to hide it away. I also have some beautiful art on my walls and set up. I have a lot of original art, actually. I also have, some leather things out. I also have some hidey holes for the cats. Mostly, though, they like to sit on my wheelchair. In fact, there's one here now. Do you have anything to say? No, he has nothing to say. They love to sit on my wheelchair. We have to cover my wheelchair with a blanket every time we're home because otherwise it would be constantly covered in cat hair and scratches. So I have a thick woolen tartan blanket over my wheelchair so that the cats can do whatever they want to do.
This is Crip Love, a sonic archive of love stories from the disability community. In this episode, you'll meet Erin and Lee.
So, my name is Lee, and Boop, come on.
And that was Boop, our cat. I'm trying to make an entrance. If he does it again, we might just need to cuddle him while we do this.
Yep.
Which is fine.
Yeah. Do you want me to go, honey?
No, give me a sec. Okay. Just recentering. Hi, my name is Lee, and this is my partner, Erin. Erin is a trans man with a wonderful ginger beard, wearing a wonderful t-shirt, and he is the love of my life.
Aww. Hi, my name is Erin, and this is my partner, Lee. He is my favorite person in the world, and I love him very much. So we met at a party. There was a party at Lee's share house. I think it was his birthday party, actually, although I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure it was. And my introduction to Lee was, this is Lee, and Lee at the time was shirtless, wearing handcuffs, and had a tally drawn on his chest of how many people he had kissed that night.
Yes. Yes, I did indeed have a snog tally on me. I had no shirt on. I was there and I was snogging a lot of people. I saw Erin, said, "Hi, well, can I kiss you?"
And I said no. And that's how I met Lee.
And I went along elsewhere. So yes, that would have been the very first time that we saw each other. I did remember that I kept chatting with him and his girlfriend at the time, and like he seemed a very cool and interesting dude, and I liked him a lot. I think we sort of shared details, and we eventually started talking online and such like that.
We would chat back then. God, it was Google Chat was what we were using back then. That's how long ago it was. I definitely just like developed a crush on him, and a large part of that was just. This is kind of sad, but a large part of that was not just, oh, he's cute and fun and I like him, but he was also accepting about me being trans. He was like very good about it. He didn't mess up my pronouns too much. You know, that that sounds really sad, but that was a very big deal at the time. At the time, I'd had a lot of trouble, especially with cis men. I found cis women to be a little bit better about it. But cis men in particular were very bad about accepting my transness. So the fact that I knew he was queer and he was cool about me being trans kind of made that crush very like I don't want to say intense, but definitely it was a crush.
I did not get a lot of knowledge that he was like that interested in me, but I said I do not remember how we eventually got it in my head that like he was interested in me.
Do you find it hard to read those kinds of things?
Yes, but like that, I'm fairly certain I'm not alone in that. I suspect most people find it incredibly difficult to sense when people are into them, because for the most part, no one we're not actually paying attention to that. Like, there's cool people around, we're chatting to them, and like they're being nice to us, and that's great, and it's very hard to really distinguish between people having an interest in you because you're interesting, and people have an interest in you because they like you.
Yeah.
Which gets to the party with the webcam. There was a party that I was organizing at my share house. And at the time, I was starting to become good friends with Erin.
And I was dating someone else at the time. I had a girlfriend at the time that I lived with. And I've been polyamorous my whole adult life, so this was never a issue. So one night he was like, hey, we're having a party at the house tonight. Do you guys want to come? And we were like, oh, we can't really because we don't really have a ride.
So I said, well, what I will do is I will put on a webcam so you can enjoy the party, teleconference in that sort of respect.
We were like, oh my God, that's so cute. Let's do it. And we made a joke about, well, if you're going to set up your webcam, I hope you're going to strip for us. Like, obviously we deserve the show. And he was like, absolutely, I promise.
Yes, I definitely promised him a striptease. I think I also snogged a couple of people on camera for him as well. A couple of people that I also liked at the time.
And by this point, I was finally kind of at like, okay, maybe I do want to kiss this boy, maybe.
He managed to convince a friend of his to pick him and his girlfriend up and bring them down. And he got there, and I think the party went for like another couple of hours or so, at which point I very naturally invited him and his girlfriend into my bed.
It was just us and him in his bedroom, and we were hopping into bed, and we were like, hey, what about that strip tease you promised us? And he was like, well, I guess I did promise it, didn't I? So he got naked and got into bed with us, and around here I started thinking, maybe he liked me? Maybe.
You think that if you give a strip tease to someone, that might indicate that you're kind of interested in them in a sexual sense. Maybe for some people, stripping is just a thing you do when you find someone interesting. Certainly not in my case. No, I wasn't making it platonic. I was very much interested in him as well.
We had a lovely time, the three of us, and then we went to sleep. And I was like, wow, I think he does like me. It's like, yeah, Erin, probably. Like, I feel a need to almost be defensive now and be like, I promise I'm not that oblivious anymore. Like, I was 21. Everyone's oblivious when they're 21. And yeah, we woke up the next day. My girlfriend had to go to work, so she had to leave pretty early.
Had breakfast. I think I even did like eggs on toast or something. I take care of the people I'm sleeping with. If you're here, I might as well make you breakfast. And so yeah, we sort of chatted to each other.
And I don't know why, but this is actually one of the reasons I think we've stayed together so long. It was very natural for us to just start saying, like, hey, what does this mean? Are we dating? Like, was this just a hookup? Like, what does it mean?
And yeah, me and Erin agreed that we would like to be partners.
Casual boyfriends, not too serious. Yeah, how'd that work out, past Erin? In fact, I even remember at the time I said to my girlfriend, like, I don't know how long this will last. Like, I think this is probably just kind of a fling. Yeah, I said that 16 years ago.
And now you're here.
And now we're here.
So when did things change from being something more casual to something more serious?
More serious. So there were there were probably two main points, but there were a lot of little points in between them. But the two main ones was my girlfriend and I broke up, and I had been living with her. We'd been together like 3.5 years. It was a very serious relationship. It was the most devastating breakup I've ever had. And that was about 6 months into dating Lee.
He was in love with his girlfriend. I knew that he also loved me, but the sheer grief at the loss of that relationship was something to see. And as his partner, it was important that I help him through it. I mean, among other things, he was homeless for a while.
I had to move out. And I didn't have anywhere to go. So I did crash with Lee for about a week and a bit. And then full credit to Lee. I'm so proud of him retroactively for this. He basically told me I can't be the one doing this. Like, you need to move out. Like, you can't move in with me. Like, I can't handle all of this grief of yours. Like, I can't do it. And I'm really glad he did that. I think that our relationship would not have survived if he had not done that. Because I was really messed up. I was crying every day. I was just a mess. And for him, it was also, it was difficult for obvious reasons. But it was also difficult for him because there's no script on how to comfort your partner from a breakup with their partner. There's no script for that. We don't have a existing framework to work with on that kind of thing. But he did his best, and honestly, I think he did a really good job.
I hope I did a good job on it. It's not something I recommend for people, but it's certainly a very good way of getting close to someone is when you are there to help them out through their pain. And I think it's actually one of the benefits of being in a polyamorous relationship is that when a relationship breaks, you're not alone. You're able to be there for people in a way that not even really friends can. Having that extra relationship there is an extra source of support that a lot of monogamous people who break up just don't have. He had a partner available to him, me, who was able to be there when he needed him, and wasn't just me being a friend, it was me being a partner to him. And I think that's a really, I found it really valuable in us sort of becoming better partners.
Yeah, that was obviously a very big deal for very early in the relationship. And yeah, I think the fact that we got through that okay, that was a big defining moment for, oh, this could work. We both managed to get through this without hurting each other. We managed to get through this without asking too much of each other. It was really good. And yeah, so I crashed with some other friends. I ended up couch surfing. I ended up staying with one friend for a couple of months, which was really good. That gave me enough stability that I could find someone to move into a share house with. I think maybe about a year into that, we realized like Lee was coming over a lot. He was living I can't remember how far away, but over half an hour commute away. It might have been over an hour. I don't remember, from where I was living. And we were just like, wow, we miss each other. This is a hassle. And Lee had just gotten a better paying job. And he was like, hey, I could actually afford like a 1-bedroom unit on my own now. I don't have to keep share housing.
I wasn't in uni anymore. I was now working full time. I was getting enough money. I was like, I can actually do things like run the car that I have, and I can buy gifts for Erin, and all of a sudden I actually can spend money on things. It was very exciting at the time. And having that money meant that I could actually have my own apartment.
We did have a conversation. He was like, would you want to move in together? And I said no, because I was still so hurt from that big breakup and how difficult it had been to disentangle. It was a divorce, right? There may not have been any paperwork involved, but it was a divorce. We had to separate all of our stuff. I had to say goodbye to the cat we had, who I never saw again. It was really, really hard. So when he was like, do you want to move in? I was just like, nah, no, not ready for that. So he was like, all right, well, what if I just move closer?
And we actually moved in literally across the road from him. I found an apartment across the road from him.
And that was great. We saw each other almost all the time. Now, I don't remember the exact timeline of the next part. But I do remember we had a conversation. Obviously, we'd already had a conversation about moving in, and I was like, no, maybe someday, but not yet. And at some point in the next couple of years, he missed share housing. He felt really lonely, and he wanted to save some money. And we had a friend who was looking to get into share housing who we liked. So he was like, I'm going to get back into share housing. And he moved to the other side of the city. He moved to Footscray. We were in St Kilda at the time. And that move was really hard because he realized that he just missed me all the time. We'd gotten so accustomed to just being around each other so much whenever we wanted. It was hard. And about 6 months in, I remember we were at St Kilda Beach. We were down at the beach just hanging out and talking, me and Lee. And I can't remember what I was saying, but I remember I realized as I was talking that I was ready now. I was just like, oh, I think I do. I want to live with you now. And so that was a big thing, was I moved into his share house. What's important is that I didn't move into his room. I got my own room in the share house. It was a terrible share house. It was falling to pieces, physically. The people who lived in it were great. The house itself was garbage. I had a vine growing through my wall, into my room. But yeah, I moved in with the plan that we weren't going to stay there. We were going to start looking for our place together. And yeah, then we started looking for a place together. And it was really scary. Because one of the things we talked about was, as I said, I moved into a room in his share house, right? I didn't move into his room. And we've never shared a room. We only ever shared a room when, we would visit each other and we would attempt to sleep in the same bed. We both had undiagnosed sleep disorders at the time of very incompatible types. We had talked about, we need separate bedrooms. From a sleep quality thing alone, because previously I would often get up and I'd sleep on the couch or it was awful. So yeah, when we started looking, we were like, all right, well, we'll get somewhere that has at least 2 bedrooms, because we need our separate sleeping zones. And we still have separate bedrooms to this day. It's my favorite thing. I am a big believer in people having their own bedrooms. Yeah, so then we started looking. We found a nice little house and we moved in, and it was really amazing.
It was kind of wonderful, actually, because we were coming in with not a lot of things like lounge room furniture or stuff like that. We hadn't really bothered investing in a lot of that sort of stuff. We were sort of finally sort of merging our things together and sort of figuring out what we were keeping and what we weren't. And we had our own separate rooms that we could define and set how we wanted to. We actually had a lot of good times in that house, actually. I think being able to work together and actually sort of build a home together was like sort of the next big step as to when we were actually having a relationship and like sort of really integrating with each other.
We had a spare room. It was actually a 3-bedroom house when rents were a lot more reasonable. And that spare room got a lot of use because I already had a habit of, some of my friends called it bringing home strays. I would find people that needed somewhere to stay. And of course, when you've been homeless, you know what that's like. And you're just like, come sleep on my floor. And my housemates had always been very good about being cool with me doing that. It's been something that I'm especially glad I did when I was young because we can't afford a spare bedroom anymore. And I'm a lot sicker. My disability has gotten a lot worse. And I'm not really up to having people crashing on my floor anymore. So I'm a little bit sad I can't offer it anymore, but I have a little bit of comfort knowing that I offered it for as long as I could. Like, as long as I was capable of offering this, I did. But yeah, it was really good. We lived there for, I think, 3 years, maybe a bit more. Must have been a bit more. We were regularly going to events. We're both very heavily involved in the kink and leather scene. Like, we would go every week to something. We had friends over all the time. It honestly, it was like idyllic. I do remember why we left.
Eventually the rent got big enough that we couldn't stay there, so we ended up moving all the way out to Tarneet in Melbourne's west, which was a very, very new estate, thus things were still relatively cheap there at the time.
And I remember at the time feeling so bitter because a lot of my friends were moving to the western suburbs at the time because it was gentrifying rapidly while we were there. And everyone was like, oh man, the western suburbs are so great. And I'm like, yeah, I know, you're the reason I have to leave. Like, everyone with all their money moving to the place that I have to leave because, we couldn't afford to stay. So we moved, I don't remember how many years we were at Braybrook, but we moved from there to Tarneet. Into this massive house. We got like a 4-bedroom house because they don't make them small in that area. Like, there were no 2-bedroom houses in the area. Like, it was literally cheaper for us to rent a 4-bedroom house in Tarneet than like a 1-bedroom apartment in the rest of Melbourne.
At that point, this was our second time sort of setting up a house together, and we had a much bigger house now, so we could like really properly set up a lot of things. Because Erin needs a lot of bed rest, like, what it meant was that my computer was the primary computer in the house. And when he needed to use it, he would only really use it for a couple of hours because that was about as long as he could stay up doing so. It meant that he couldn't do a lot of creative work or even a lot of gaming and stuff like that. And when we were in Tarneet, we realized, oh, actually, we have like enough space to set you up with a computer that you can use while you're in bed. And we had the money to do it. So that is exactly what we did. We got that set up and we got him organized on that bed, and then we organized his computer. And for the first time for a long time, Erin actually had a computer of his own that he was able to use, and that he was able to use without exhausting himself in the process of doing it. And I firmly believe that the creative works we've done together wouldn't have been possible if we hadn't set that up.
I actually really liked living there. Like, I didn't like how isolated it was, but we lived across the road from a lake, and like there were pobblebonk frogs in the lake, so like every night around sunset you would hear the frogs bonking, and it was very cute. Yep, this is Tribble. Hi, baby. You're just looking for snacks, aren't you?
I look hungry.
Why are you grumpy?
Where's my food, Daddy?
I gave you food.
Please, can't you give me more? You have so much food there. Why don't you give me a little bit?
I love cats.
Please give me the pooter.
So Lee had been diagnosed with depression at our previous place, and we'd been working on it together. And for a few months, like he'd been talking about how he wanted to get a cat.
At the time, I was going to a psychologist, and one of the things that we both kind of realized is that Erin was kind of lonely in the house when I wasn't around. And so, but more importantly, like, I felt like I wanted pets at that point. Like, I felt we were sort of secure enough that we could get pets.
At the time, I was very against that because, again, heart got broken with the big breakup and I never saw that cat again. I also really liked not having to worry about being home to feed the cats. But I was admittedly in Tanit, we were going out less. And I was like, you know what? We've got a big house. We're not going out as much anymore. I was like, all right, we'll do it. We'll get a cat. It's good for depression. Like, we'll get a cat. And so we went on to Pet Rescue and found some cats. And then we went to meet a little ginger kitten who came home with us.
We got Tribble first. Every cat is the cutest kitten in the world. But when you have like a cat who literally just jumps up and just like sits on you while you're sort of relaxing on the chase, it's like, ah.
I was not keen on getting a kitten. I really wanted like an adult cat that was already like set in its personality and, but Lee really wanted a kitten. So I was like, all right. And he actually took some time off. He basically took cat paternity leave. He booked some of his annual leave so that he could take time off to spend time with the kitten.
This sounds really cheesy, but it actually felt like we were actually having a family at that point. And I think about 6 months after we got Tribble, we sort of realized that Tribble had like severe anxiety whenever we weren't around. Like he was very much a cat. I need people around me. And I guess that makes sense because like his mum abandoned him. So he probably did have a bit of abandonment complex.
And yeah, he was so anxious, and we took him to the vet and they were like, yeah, he's just a really anxious cat basically. And we were like, should we get another cat?
And we decided, well, let's get a second cat so that he's like, he always has someone around. And that's when we got little Boop.
And then with Boop, I remember we picked him up and Lee was holding him and he just went to sleep on him. And we were just like, oh, well, we have to take him. Like, he fell asleep on you. You have to. We then discovered over the next couple of days that probably happened because he was extremely ill. But yeah, Boop was very ill. He had to be on very strong antibiotics, ones that cross the blood-brain barrier, and he's actually been a little bit simple ever since. He's not a very smart cat. And he doesn't have very good balance. But he's our baby and we love him. And yeah, he got better. And then we had to introduce them and thankfully it went really well. And Tribble did calm down a lot. Like he's still a very anxious cat. He's still very high strung, but he has been a lot calmer with some company.
Erin was quite happy because Boop and Tribble were around and actually got to meet his mum and sister.
My mum, before she passed away, she managed to come down to visit us for Christmas that year. And we got Boop right before Christmas. So he was still a little tiny kitten. My mum was very excited to meet the kitten. And she was like holding him. And I remember her being like, oh, my grandson. Like, which was very cute. Her guide dog was also very keen to meet the kitten. The kitten was not keen on the guide dog. Because I come from a disabled family. My dad was deaf from birth and my mum was blind. She went blind in like her 40s. So lots of disability. Everyone in my family is disabled. Which is probably why I never had trouble with a lot of like disability rights and pride stuff. I'm just like, isn't everyone disabled? Like, what? I don't know. So yeah, that was Tanit. I pretty much think of Tanit as the place that like we got the cats.
Oh, there's a Boop.
Hello.
Hi, Boop. Are you getting hungry, are you? Yes, mommy, yes.
Yeah, he's a little siren.
I guess like you ended up moving back into the city.
Yeah, so I literally missed St Kilda again. I was homesick for the first time and I went on, Domain or whatever, and I was just gonna have a look, just gonna check out the market. And I remember there was a 2-bedroom apartment for a price that was, I think, even less than we were paying. And it was pet friendly. Like, it actually said it was pet friendly. And it had an inspection that day. And we were like, well, what have we got to lose? It was a private rental, wasn't a real estate agent. It was the landlord's first time renting. He was literally renting because his wife was having, like, him and his wife were having twins, and they couldn't live up 3 flights of stairs in this tiny apartment anymore. And yeah, we signed a lease like 28 hours later. And we lived in that apartment for 5 years, and we loved that part. We would have stayed there longer, but stairs became impossible for me. Like, I can do a couple of stairs. Like, I can't do 3 flights of stairs. But I do think very fondly of that apartment. I loved that apartment. It was an older apartment, but I don't know, it just felt like home, you know? It was just really good. And I loved being in St Kilda, back in St Kilda. When we move again, we'll be moving back into the city, I think, because this place is a unicorn. Like, it really is. Most apartments not in the CBD are not wheelchair accessible. Like, it's not even just St Kilda, it's everywhere. But yeah, so now we're here, and it's been 16 years now, which that feels wild. In fact, I realized when we hit our 21st, the day after our 21st anniversary, we'll have been together longer than without. Which is, you know, I mean, depending on how long we live, like, we could get the, like, 50th anniversary level, like... And that is wild to think about, because I never thought that was going to be me. Like, I did not foresee myself being with someone that long. Like, not because of, like, of any particular reason. Well, no, that's not true. A big reason was that prior medical abuse stuff meant that I was pretty sure I wasn't going to survive beyond 30, really. But now it's like, oh, wow. Like, I get to spend the rest of my life with him, because we've talked about it a few times, and we're like, yeah, we don't really see anything changing. We've been together long enough now. We're happy living together. And, like, it's like, yeah, oh, this might actually be, like we don't really see this ending.
I'm generally a fairly chill person. Like, I generally quite happy to travel where the winds may take me when it comes to my relationships and the way I live my life. I have sort of learned that I can be happy just about anywhere and in any kind of life. But it's one thing to sort of travel with the winds, and another thing to sit down and go, yes, this is where we want to go. Like, actually charting the path with the sails rather than just going wherever. Like, that's a very different thing. And yeah, I genuinely do feel happy with my life at this point. And I have a partner in Erin who, like, we went the entire work through lockdown, and I've talked often how, like, I was worried about my space. We didn't have any space during lockdowns, and I still felt happy and safe with Erin around. And even the times where Erin had to go to hospital during lockdown and I couldn't see him were some of the most stressful times in my life, because I had been so used to having Erin around to take care of me. And suddenly he wasn't there, and I had to take care of myself. And that was a deeply terrifying experience. Like, we have grown so entwined together that I can't imagine us not being together.
Yeah.
I really can't.
What do you love about your relationship with Erin?
Sorry.
Yeah, take a moment.
I love that I have someone who I can rely on to take care of the brain stuff that I am very bad at. We often ask, Lee, what would you do without Erin? And the answer is I would live a much less productive life. I would not live a life where I'm doing everything I want to be doing.
We work together well. Like, we have a very clear division of labor in our household, where basically he does the physical stuff and I do the mental stuff. I handle bills, I handle budgeting, I handle admin, and he does the vacuuming and, you know, all that stuff. And, you know, we didn't fall into that, something that we worked on together.
We know what each other needs, and it's a wonderful thing to have someone in your life that knows that. And it's also, and just the general things, like, it's nice to have someone to cuddle, and Erin is a great cuddle. He's, like, fat and squishy. It's great.
Like, and even little stuff like, okay, so I don't really like brown meat on chicken, and Lee doesn't really like breast meat on chicken. So if we buy a whole chicken, we can split it perfectly. Like, and that's a silly little thing, but like, it's stuff like that that just, I don't know, it feels nice.
So it's a magical coincidence.
It is. I like that we talk about everything. Whenever I've never felt afraid to bring anything up. I do think he has been afraid to bring things up, but I know that's not about me. That's about childhood trauma. But I mean, again, I've worked really hard to try and make sure that he feels safe with me because that's important to me. And like in the time we've been together, I've seen him become so much more secure and like so much more comfortable and so much less anxious. And I love everything. I love, like, I'm happy, and I don't see that changing. Yeah.
I live so commonly just in the present. Like, it's so hard for me to constantly to bring things up about the past and any sort of clarity, and I almost never think about the future. And Erin is quite different. Erin doesn't. Is also happy to live in the present, but he also plans for everything. Like he is the person in my life who makes sure that I am aware that there is a future to go to. And he takes care of me as much as I take care of him. And it looks different. And sometimes both of us sort of look and go, are you sure you're okay with this? Because we're always doing the things that the other person finds difficult. But that's the point. We're not one person. We are two separate people. And it's not like we couldn't disentangle ourselves if we had to. But together, we can do things together. We can be things together that I don't think we could do on our own.
So, planning to get married?
Yeah,
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about why. Because we, as I think we've established, we are not a traditional couple of people. And in fact, I'm kind of against marriage on principle. And so I've always been I'll never get married. Like, even if I'm committed to someone, I'll never get married. And I still feel that way about marriage. And I think that's important to note. Because deciding to get married for us wasn't about, oh, we love each other. It was, ironically, state control. State control is what makes me against marriage, but it's also what made me decide to get married.
The thing is, we may be against a particular societal thing, but we still live in the damn society.
Right. Like, I'm kind of against gender as a thing, but I still live in a world that has gender. So I have to engage with the world about gender.
Yeah.
And it's the same kind of thing. I disagree with the concept of this one, like, romantic relationship being privileged over other relationships. I disagree with the government being involved. But I live in this world. And I have to engage with how this world treats and how the society treats relationships. And so I began to get concerned about things like when we become elderly, and because it's very easy to break a couple apart, even if they are married, honestly.
Yeah.
I worried about just average stuff like, inheritances and power of attorney, and yes, you can get all those things done up individually, but like, it's really complicated. And
there are a lot of things in life that marriage simplifies, and it's not about love. It's about the fact that marriage resolves a lot of issues that we're going to have in a lot easier way than us trying to figure out some kind of bespoke solution.
Yeah. And so, like, I'm still a marriage abolitionist, but we were talking about it, and I was like, well, I think especially, like, if we can get lucky enough maybe one day to buy an apartment, together, that will also be easier if we're married. And it was just one of those things where, like, all right, well, bureaucratically, this makes sense. again, I've always kind of been against marriage, but I've also spent my whole life complaining because weddings are like the biggest party that you get to throw, that everyone's kind of obligated to attend, and like you get to go all out on, like, no matter how poor you are, you get to go all out on a wedding. And so I've always been like, oh man, I really want to have a wedding though.
And then we got to this point, and we got to always like, oh, I guess we better get married, I guess. And then Erin goes, party time, party.
I will be wearing leather, black leather. You picture a generic leather man. That's what I'm gonna look like.
Yeah.
I already own most of the leather anyway, so like it's not going. My outfit's not gonna cost very much. I basically just have to get a shirt made, and that'll be like $400-$500. Because when I think about like, ooh, okay, what do I want to wear at this like formal event where I'm the center of attention, and it's not a formal event for something else. Like it's my formal event. I get to choose what that looks like. Well, for me, that looks like leather, because that's always been what that means to me, you know.
And I'm still in the process of designing my.
No, but we know the thing. Like we know.
Yeah, I know I'm going to be wearing a white tuxedo with like nice brocade. I basically want to create a suit that looks as much like a wedding dress as it's possible to be while still being a suit.
Because we don't want a very traditional wedding. Like the plan is people will rock up, hang out, we'll do the marriage thing, and then it's just party.
Yeah. So don't call it a ceremony. It's just the marriage thing.
Finding wheelchair accessible wedding venues is nearly impossible, especially if you don't want to. If you're happy with a traditional white wedding, your options are better. But yes, we found one place that we love. It's got these beautiful LED walls covered with this like black metal work. It's so good. And it's like it walks that balance of kind of the grungy industrial look, but
pretty,
still bright and colorful and fun. We're gonna have I will have fire twirlers. That is a requirement for me. We're going to have gelato carts.
Yes,
a gelato cart and a cannoli cart. We'll have like the traditional things like a photo booth and stuff, because that stuff is fun. Everyone loves that.
Very, very exciting. I think we covered a lot, but is there anything else either of you want to say?
I think that for all the time that we've been together, we have gone through a lot of challenges and a lot of evolutions of how our relationship has been. And I think it's kind of really important to remember that like relationships fundamentally are always going to be like changing. Like you're not going to have the same relationship your entire life. And the kind of things you are and the people you become and the people who you used to be, they all inform the kind of relationship that you're going to have. But it's also kind of important to note that no part of that relationship is going to be like better or more the relationship than any other part of it. It's all part of the same thing.
Yeah, that's true. Like our relationship, it would be disingenuous to say our relationship hasn't changed.
No.
You know, it has changed. It's changed momentously. But like, I mean, at the end of the day, it's still you and me though.
We are two cities under construction constantly, and I'm not who I used to be, but in the end it's still you and me.
Crip Love is supported by the New South Wales Government through Create New South Wales. And this episode received additional support from Content is Queen. The gorgeous artwork is by Emma Pham, and dreamy music is by Brianna Jones and Paul McAdam. Bri and Paul are in one of my favourite bands, Library Siesta. You can find a link to their Bandcamp in our show notes. You can find open captions for each episode on criplove.net. I'm Danny Stewart. I really appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for listening.